Have you ever wondered why, after 12 years sitting in school classrooms, you still don't know how money really works? Why did they teach you complex chemistry formulas, but never taught you how to calculate compound interest? Why can you recite historical dates, but understand nothing about economic cycles? Why do you know the area of a circle, but can't distinguish between assets and liabilities? Today, I'm going to reveal the truth that the education system doesn't want you to know. From 2004 to now, the price of a house in major American cities has skyrocketed from $200,000 to $800,000, a four-fold increase. Meanwhile, the average salary only increased from $35,000 to $65,000, less than double. But why doesn't school teach you this? Why doesn't anyone explain why your parents could easily buy homes while you can't? Listen, this isn't a coincidence. The education system was designed with a very specific purpose: to create obedient workers who don't ask questions and always follow orders. They don't teach you independent thinking. They don't teach you to question the system. And most importantly, they don't teach you how money really works. Why? Because a person who understands money will never accept being a slave to the system for life. A person who understands investing will never rely solely on a monthly paycheck. A person who knows how to ask questions will never believe empty government promises. Do you know what model the modern education system is designed after? The factory model. That's right, exactly like an automobile assembly line. Think about it. Why do all students of the same age have to learn the same curriculum? Why do they have to line up in straight rows? Why do they have to listen to bells for class changes? Why do they have to ask permission to use the bathroom? I'll tell you straight. That's exactly how they trained factory workers for the 20th century. This system emerged in the 19th century when industrialized nations needed millions of workers for their factories. They needed people who could read and write at a basic level, do simple calculations, but most importantly, obey absolutely. And you know what? That model is still being used today. Look at your classroom. The teacher stands on a platform like a factory boss. Students sit in rows like workers on an assembly line. Everyone has to do the same thing at the same time for the same duration. Anyone who can't keep up gets eliminated. But here's what they don't tell you. The world has completely changed. Today, the most successful people aren't the most obedient ones. They're people who think independently, who are creative, who ask questions, and most importantly, who understand how money works. Did Elon Musk follow orders? Did Steve Jobs sit quietly in class? Did Bill Gates complete 12 years of regular schooling? The answer is no. They all dropped out or learned in their own way. While you're being trained to become the perfect employee, rich kids are being taught how to become bosses. They learn money management from childhood. They learn how to invest, how to create passive income, how to question the system. They learn to think like entrepreneurs, not like employees. And this is exactly why the wealth gap keeps growing. From childhood, you've been programmed with an employee mindset. What does employee mindset think? Work hard and you'll get promoted. The company will take care of me for life. Saving money in the bank is safest. Don't take risks. Choose the stable path. Meanwhile, rich kids have been taught owner mindset from early on. What does owner mindset think? How do I get others to work for me? I must create systems, not work for systems. Money must make money, not sit in banks. Calculated risks are opportunities. In 12 years of schooling, were you ever taught how to calculate compound interest? Were you ever taught to distinguish between income-generating assets and depreciating liabilities? Were you ever taught how to read financial statements? The answer is no. Instead, they taught you to memorize the year the Declaration of Independence was signed. They taught you chemical solution concentration formulas. They taught you to analyze literature according to rigid templates. Why? Because those things don't help you escape the system. They only make you a more perfect cog in the machine they control. Do you know the biggest difference between rich kids and poor kids in school? It's not grades. It's not the ability to memorize. It's how they approach knowledge. Poor kids are taught rote learning. Rich kids are taught critical thinking. What is rote learning? It's stuffing information into your head without understanding the essence. It's memorizing formulas without knowing applications. It's blindly trusting textbooks. What is critical thinking? It's asking why. It's analyzing information from multiple angles. It's not believing anything until you verify it yourself. When studying history, poor kids memorize years and events. Rich kids ask questions. Who benefited from this war? Who funded that revolution? Where did this information come from? When studying economics, poor kids memorize GDP and inflation formulas. Rich kids ask, who controls money printing? Why does inflation benefit borrowers? How can I leverage economic cycles? While you're busy memorizing, they're busy learning how to make money. Listen, I'll ask you a simple question. In 12 years of schooling, were you ever taught how to do business? Were you ever taught how to create products, find customers, sell, manage money? Were you ever taught how to build teams, how to lead, how to negotiate? I'm guessing the answer is no. Instead, you were taught to become a perfect employee. Show up on time, follow instructions, make no mistakes, don't complain. And that's exactly the purpose of the education system. Create workers, not entrepreneurs. Why is that? Because the system needs millions of employees to operate. If everyone became entrepreneurs, who would be the workers? If everyone understood money, who would accept low wages? Look at how school prepares you for the future. They teach you absolute obedience, so later you won't dare argue with your boss, even when they're wrong. They teach you to work by the hour, so later you get used to trading time for money. They teach you to compete with friends, so later you compete with colleagues instead of collaborating. They teach you to fear failure, so later you won't dare risk starting a business. Meanwhile, what are rich kids taught? They're taught to question and challenge, so later they can lead and innovate. They're taught to create value, so later they know how to make money from ideas. They're taught to build relationships, so later they have strong networks. They're taught to view failure as lessons, so later they dare to experiment and innovate. Mark Zuckerberg attended Harvard but dropped out to start Facebook. Bill Gates also left Harvard to start Microsoft. Elon Musk dropped out of his Stanford PhD after 2 days to start businesses. Do you see the pattern? The world's most successful people didn't complete traditional education systems. They learned what they needed, when they needed it, how they wanted. What are the top students from your class doing now? Most are working as employees for companies founded by the troublemakers. They have high degrees and deep knowledge, but are still trading time for money instead of creating money-generating systems. Now we come to the most important part, what you actually need to learn to succeed in the real world. I'll share with you 7 skills that schools deliberately don't teach, but they determine 90% of your success. The first skill is understanding money and inflation. Do you know why your parents could easily buy houses while you can't? It's not because they were better. It's because they lived in a different era, an era when money still had real value. Since 1970, the dollar has lost 98% of its value. That means $100 in 1970 is worth only $2 today. Why? Because of inflation, the silent thief stealing your wealth every day. But does school teach you this? No. They only teach you that saving money is a good virtue. They don't tell you that saving money in banks at 2% annual interest while inflation runs at 5% annually is a guaranteed way to become poorer. Rich people understand this, so they invest in assets. What are assets? Things that increase in value over time and generate income for you. Real estate, stocks, gold, businesses. Poor kids are taught to buy cars, new phones, expensive clothes, things that lose value immediately after purchase. Rich kids are taught to buy land, company shares, gold, things that appreciate over time. What's the result after 20 years? Poor kids are still paying installments on old cars and outdated phones. Rich kids' assets have increased tenfold with enough money to buy whatever they want. The second skill is understanding economic cycles. Do you know the economy operates in cycles? Every 8 to 12 years, there's a crisis. This isn't random. It's by design. Look at history. 1929, Great Depression. 1973, oil crisis. 1980, dollar crisis. 2000, dot-com crash. 2008, housing crisis. 2020, COVID crisis. Do you see the pattern? People who understand these cycles make billions. Those who don't lose everything. Warren Buffett said, "Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy." What does that mean? When everyone panics and sells off like in 2008, that's when you buy. When everyone's frantically buying like in 2007, that's when you sell. But does school teach you this? No. They teach you economics through dry theories with no practical application. They don't teach you how to recognize signs of each cycle phase. The third skill is entrepreneur thinking. What's the biggest difference between employee and entrepreneur mindset? Employee mindset: how do I complete assigned tasks? Entrepreneur mindset: how do I solve customer problems? Employee mindset: how do I get a raise? Entrepreneur mindset: how do I create value to exchange for money? Employees ask, when can I take time off? Entrepreneurs ask, how can the system run without me? And here's the most important thing. Entrepreneurs don't sell time, they sell results. An employed programmer gets paid by the hour. A freelance programmer gets paid per project. But an entrepreneur creates software and sells it to thousands of customers simultaneously. School teaches you to sell time. Real life teaches you to sell value. The fourth skill is personal financial management. Do you know the 50-30-20-10 rule? 50% of income for long-term investing in stocks and funds, 30% for living expenses, food, housing, transportation, 20% for short-term savings and emergency funds, 10% for entertainment and shopping. This is how rich people manage money. What about poor people? They spend all their income, even spend more than their income by borrowing for consumption. Rich people pay themselves first, invest 50% as soon as they get paid, then spend the rest. Poor people spend first, then plan to save what's left, but there's never anything left. The fifth skill is networking. Do you know the saying, your network is your net worth? Your relationship network is your actual wealth. Rich people understand that business is about people, not products. They spend 60% of their time building relationships, only 40% working. Poor people do the opposite, only focus on completing tasks. While you diligently sit at your desk working, rich kids are attending parties, meeting influential people, building partnerships. Result? When business opportunities arise, they have people introducing customers, providing capital, offering strategic advice. You have to figure everything out from scratch. The sixth skill is systems thinking. Poor people work within systems. Rich people create systems. McDonald's isn't a hamburger company, it's a real estate and franchise company. Ray Kroc understood that instead of opening one store, create a system for others to open thousands of stores for you. Amazon isn't a book company, it's a logistics and cloud computing system. Facebook isn't a social network, it's a data collection and advertising sales system. Rich people always think, how do I scale without increasing work time? The answer is systems and automation. The seventh skill is sales and marketing. Here's a harsh truth. No matter how skilled you are, if you can't sell, you'll be poor. The best doctor isn't necessarily the one who makes the most money. The doctor who knows marketing and sales is the richest. The best engineer isn't the CEO of tech companies. The engineer who can sell ideas and build teams becomes CEO. School teaches you to fear sales because they consider it lowly work. But in reality, sales is the most important life skill. You sell yourself in job interviews. You sell ideas in presentations. You sell your personality when dating. You sell your vision when starting businesses. Rich people understand that life is sales. Poor people avoid sales and remain forever dependent on others. Now, the most important question, why does the education system deliberately not teach these skills? The answer is simple, because they need workers, not competitors. Imagine if everyone understood money, everyone knew how to invest, everyone had entrepreneur mindset. Who would be the employees? Who would accept low wages? Who would borrow money from banks to buy overpriced houses? The current financial system only works when there are many poor people and few rich people. If everyone understood that saving money loses to inflation, borrowing to buy houses is falling into debt traps, working for wages your whole life leads to poverty, then who would sustain the banking system? Who would generate profits for large corporations? That's why they must maintain the factory model of education, create millions of productive workers, highly productive people who never understand the essence of the game they're playing. And here's the proof. Do you see any expensive private schools teaching the factory model? They teach critical thinking, creativity, leadership, entrepreneurship, because their children are born to control the system, not serve it. While poor kids learn to obey orders, rich kids learn to give orders. While poor kids learn to work hard, rich kids learn to work smart. While poor kids learn to save, rich kids learn to invest. Result, the wealth gap keeps growing. In 2010, the richest 1% held 35% of total global wealth. In 2023, this number rose to 42%. They don't need to use force to steal your wealth. They just need to ensure you don't understand the rules of the game. Now, after understanding the essence of the problem, the question is, what will you do? You have two choices. Choice one, continue trusting the system, follow what school taught, and accept the life of a voluntary slave. Choice two, start self-educating, learn truly important skills, and create your own path. If you choose option two, here's a specific roadmap. Step one, change mindset from months 1 to 3. Stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an owner. Instead of asking how to get a raise, ask how to create unlimited income. Instead of asking how to save money, ask how to make money generate money. Instead of asking how to find a good job, ask how to create jobs for others. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Millionaire Mind, Think and Grow Rich, The Lean Startup. Step 2, learn about money and investing from months 3 to 6. Understand the essence of currency, inflation, and economic cycles. Learn to distinguish between assets and liabilities. Learn to read financial statements. Learn to calculate ROI, IRR, and basic investment metrics. Start investing small. Open a brokerage account, buy ETFs, learn about real estate. Principle: only invest money you can afford to lose without affecting your life. Step 3, develop sales and marketing skills from months 6 to 9. Learn to sell, the most important life skill. Start with online selling, drop shipping, affiliate marketing, creating courses, content creation. The goal isn't how much money you make, but learning how marketing and sales actually work. Step 4, build passive income from months 9 to 12. Create at least one income source that doesn't depend on your work time. This could be systematic online business, rental real estate investment, creating digital products like courses, ebooks, apps, or dividend-paying stock investments. Step 5, scale up and automate from year 2 onward. Expand and automate income sources. Hire people to work for you. Create systems. Invest in multiple channels. Ultimate goal: passive income exceeds living expenses, leading to financial freedom. Important note, this path isn't easy. It requires discipline, patience, and willingness to fail in order to learn. But it's the only way to escape the rat race the system created for you. Now you understand the truth the education system doesn't want you to know. You understand why 12 years in school classrooms doesn't make you wealthy. You understand why poor students succeed more than good students. You understand why the wealth gap keeps growing. This system wasn't designed to help you succeed. It was designed to turn you into a perfect cog in the machine they control. But you don't have to accept that fate. The world has changed. The internet has created countless opportunities previous generations never had. You can self-learn everything on YouTube. You can sell products to the entire world through Amazon, eBay. You can invest in stocks with just a few $100s. The opportunities exist. The knowledge exists. Only one thing is missing: action. Don't let another year pass while you're still trading time for money. Don't let another year pass dreaming about stable jobs while AI and automation replace millions of jobs. Don't let another year pass while your savings get eroded by inflation in bank accounts. Start today. Read at least one financial book per month. Start investing, even if it's just $50 a month. Learn a skill that can generate online income. Build relationships with like-minded people. Stop watching TikTok. Start watching educational channels about business and investing. Remember, real education begins after you graduate. What you learned in 12 years of school is just the foundation. What you self-learn afterward determines whether you'll be rich or poor, free or enslaved, successful or unsuccessful. The system doesn't want you to know these things, but now you know. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? If this video helped you, share it with friends and family. Help awaken more people from the invisible prison the system created. Because only when many people understand the truth can we change this system. Don't let them continue deceiving the next generation. As Robert Kiyosaki said, if you don't teach your children about money, someone else will, and that person may not have good intentions. The education revolution starts with you. Be the change. Don't wait for the system to change. You know the truth. Now take action to change your life and the lives of those around you. Because knowledge without action is just waste. But action based on correct knowledge leads to true freedom and success.